Hi, welcome to my video where I'm going to showcase Shadow Alolan Marowak, which is pretty new, in a Show 6 Pick 3 format in Open Great League. This thing already was meta for a long time, especially at the start of the Go Battle League. But then it kind of got pushed out, like water types became more common, dark types became more common, like Sableye is the thing to use right now, right? And Alolan Marowak isn't great against that. Swampert is very common. Azumarill and Altaria is still a thing. And Registeel has been kind of pushed out. The one thing that Alolan Marowak was supposed to counter also kind of beats it right now within the Zero Shields because of Zap Cannon. So it was kind of pushed out. And now with the Shadow boost, it's a thing again. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be super meta, but it has a niche. Let's take a look real quick at what it's strong and weak against. I made another one of my charge here, so let's take a look real quick at what it's weak against. Obviously in the red section of this chart are the things it's weak against, which are water and dark types mainly. Some a ground type like Diggersby and Altaria, Pelipper, Lickitung are not great for Alolan Marowak. These are the things you fear the most, and these are also very meta, very meta. So Marowak kind of struggles against those things. That makes it a little bit riskier to use. The good thing about Alolan Marowak is that, except against Mandibuzz or Umbreon and Diggersby, you can always get decent damage in. So it's not great. It doesn't have, some matchups are absolutely terrible for it, but it's not the riskiest to use. The thing that I find it neutral against in this Open Great League hard meta is Galarian Stunfisk, simply because your Bone Club, which comes out really fast, is a more respectable move with the Shadow bonus. It just does like 35% or something on a Galarian Stunfisk, which is pretty nice. Walrein is kind of neutral. If they bait you and they land an Earthquake, you lose to it. So there are offsets to it. Generally, I find it a comfortable matchup, but it's, you know, there's a risk to it. Scrafty is better for the Shadow version. The normal version also survives only one foul play, and so does Shadow. But your Fire Spins and Bone Clubs add up way more. Trevenant is even, very even, but you win it because you have a better stat distribution. You're bulkier as Alolan Marowak. But you know, it goes pretty fast. Like Shadow Claws add up, Fire Spins add up. It's not an easy matchup. And the generally good matchups are, well, still Registeel. Shadow Alolan Marowak does slightly better there. You win all even shield scenario where normal Alolan Marowak, I believe, loses the zeros and the twos are very close. You win Deoxys better, Medicham is better. Like usually you have to throw a Shadow Bone and then maybe still a Bone Club before it gets to a second move. But with Shadow Alolan Marowak, this is not the case. The new Araquanid, it's a pretty good match for Alolan Marowak. The Bubble Beams obviously are annoying, but Bug Bite is double resisted, so at least you don't take any fast move damage there. Nidoqueen also a little bit iffy. I would say it's better than Walrein just because Nidoqueen takes kind of longer to get to its moves and is a little bit more fragile than Walrein is. Also Bone Club again does pretty respectable damage to Nidoqueen. We will see this all later as well. And last of all, Alolan Ninetales obviously is the best. Like Alolan Marowak shines there. Charmers have no shot there. And Kanto Ninetales, it's becoming more and more meta really. We've seen Cindy win the Vancouver Regionals last week with a Shadow, Kanto Ninetales with Amber, and Alolan Marowak's pretty good against it because usually you resist all the charge moves except Psyshock, but it still doesn't do as much. So the team that I'll be showcasing here is, well, right here, the Marowak is Alolan in this team. Basically what I've built this team on is the trio that the Beepsro used a lot. The Beepsro is a friend of mine, also as a streamer on Twitch. Basically the three that I built this on is Alolan, Marowak, Azumarill, and Umbreon. Those three together are unbreakable. And around that I built it with like Registeel, Pelipper, Medicham, just solid Pokemons. Umbreon's a little bit more difficult to use with Araquanid and Registeel around, but I think other than that, it's still a very solid Pokemon. Let's go into these matches real quick. My first opponent is the line running right, is running the line right under here with the Den. So the Den actually has a really good matchup against most of my mons, right? Registeel, Azumarill, Pelipper, Medicham, and Umbreon, but it's also very fragile. It can't do everything by itself. My opponent safe swaps Sableye here. I don't know if you know the Azumarill double ghost line. It's very predictable if you know what your opponent is doing. So I swap my Reggie in Sableye as soon as possible, which is actually fine for Reggie now. I can force switch if I need to. And because I'm expecting the Alolan Marowak in the back. So, and I don't want my, obviously I don't want my my Registeel aligned to that, or have it aligned to the Den, because the Den also resists all my charge moves. It still does a lot, as you can see here, and my opponent does come out with a shield advantage here. And here we see a good showcase of Azumarill versus Alolan Marowak. I know people always, there's people saying it's not the worst for Alolan Marowak, you can still get your Shadow Bones off. It's not great for Fire Spin Alolan Marowak, really. Even if you would have something like Return on your normal Alolan Marowak, it's, you know, it's just not great for Alolan Marowak, especially with shields up. As you can see, I don't run Hydro Pump. I don't need it. I was a shield down here, and I'm very confident my Azumarill takes this matchup very easily. So this is one of those things that's pretty bad for my Alolan. Sorry, this Azumarill is one of the things that beats the Alolan Marowak. My opponent also trying out the Shadow Alolan Marowak for the first time. As you can see, your Bone Club killed there. The Den is a pretty fragile Pokemon. So obviously Bone Club does quite some damage here. And it's a pretty good game. Here we have Alolan Marowak into Nidoqueen. I'm going to show you why I kind of like this matchup. But my opponent decides to catch this on the Den, which I really don't mind, because this is like my best answer to it. Nidoqueen still kind of is a problem. That's lately been the problem for the Azumarill Umbreon core, obviously. But this is fine here. As long as I win switch and have my Umbreon on that Nidoqueen, I don't feel as bad about this. My opponent lets it go. Let's see what they come in with. Hopefully I can get to a Bone Club here, but my opponent throws on CMP, very smart. The poison jabs don't do as much on Nidoqueen. I shield this because I want the shield or damage in here. Nidoqueen is just way better when shields are up, so I kind of want to prevent that. I bring my Umbreon into here, obviously my Azumarill avoids this, and then they have Araquanid in the back. This is not a great matchup. This really is not a great matchup. I'm not gonna say it's bad, but you take resistant damage the whole time, yet you can't win this convincingly. I don't reach my Bubble Beam, my Play Rough before they reach their Bubble Beam, and going Bubble Beam first with Araquanid definitely is the play with that Spider. That way you have a more comfortable matchup in the 1s and 2 shields. And even, you're going to see, even in 0 shields, it's still gonna get pretty close. Another Bug Buzz will... Oh, it's a Ball Beam. Never mind. If they Bug Buzz... If they go for Bug Buzz, I believe they can win that, actually. Because I'm pretty sure now they have to throw a Ball Beam here, which they're not going to. They're saving up a lot of energy here. And they go Nidoqueen snipe me. Very good play by my opponent. So all I have to do here is keep my shield for the Bug Buzz, right? The Araquanid farmed up a lot of energy on my Azumarill. Like it just doesn't hate that matchup, and Araquanid really has kind of shaken up the meta. So yeah, I think like my play is to keep the shield at all cost. As long as I don't have to use the shield, I win here pretty comfortably. Fortunately, my opponent had so much energy. They got like 4 poison effects here. So, yeah, even timers coming up, that's how long this matchup takes. My opponent has the Bug Buzz here with a Ball Beam. They both lose, so That is what it is. That is what it is. Next matchup, we have Umbreon into Nidoqueen. My opponent catches again. Very good play. Now you're gonna see how weak the Den actually is. I have used the Den myself, and I think Electric and Fairy is an amazing typing. Only really losing to G-Fisk and Swampert. And Nidoqueen, of course. But it's so fragile. And then two last resorts will take this thing out. Actually, that is with a foul play. My opponent also baited me, which I didn't care for. I know that wouldn't kill my Umbreon. Umbreon's very thick. So yeah, I'll let this go anyway. I'm not too weak against Nidoqueen, right? I have Pelipper this time with me. And my opponent brings back in the Nidoqueen here. If this is an Earth Power, it will one-shot or get very close to one-shotting. Now I'll throw the Bone Club here. You're gonna see how much this does. Actually, not the worst, right? It's not the worst. For what is a pretty weak move, 2 will actually just take this out. It does like 70% total. I tried to catch on the Pelipper. Let's see if I can repeat this. I do catch the Earth Power there. My opponent throws a Poison Fang there. Without the Den, they don't really have a hard answer to my Pelipper. This is one of the things Pelipper counters really well. Boom. That does a lot of damage on a rock when it's so bulky though. It doesn't even one-shot when super effective. The Hurricane is a very heavy move from attack weighted Pokemon. So pretty interesting there. Yeah, to see Nidoqueen against Alolan Marowak there. I really like the Alolan Marowak in this matchup here. It's probably not the most common one. Obviously, you're not gonna see the Den all the time. And yeah, Shadowbone takes this Pokemon out. Next up, we have I think I only have one battle against one of my friends, JBG Winston. And then they're running the team below here. I get a very good lead. And they swap in the G-Fisk here, which I have the Azumarill for. Azumarill still is kind of iffy against this. But as you can see, I'm running Umbreon, Azumarill, Alolan Marowak again as a trio. It's very solid. It's very solid, those three together. That's what I've been using mostly with this lineup. Azumarill is just still a very good all-rounder. With Registeel, there is an extra threat to it nowadays, but you can also you can always count on it taking care of things like Sableye, fighters. You know, it does the best there, but it also is not the worst, right? It answers them pretty well, especially with like energy advantage and stuff. We got a Shadow Machamp here, so this is where you actually do slightly worse, because I think a regular Marowak barely would survive a Rock Slide here. Unfortunately, we don't get to see how much a Bone Club would do, but you'll see how much this Rock Slide will do. It will take me out. It does a lot, and you don't want your Umbreon on a Shadow Machamp here. So this Foul Play will take it out, and then there's the Trevenant. Trevenant obviously can't do much against Umbreon. It faints to 2 Foul Plays, and I don't faint to 2 Seed Bombs. This is probably the worst matchup. Actually, Mandibuzz's is even worse, but it's one of the worst that Trevenant can face, that's for sure. Maybe Litleo does even worse. And it takes it out. Next match against, I believe, Black Phoenix. I lead my Pelipper into an Alolan. I lead my Pelipper into Registeel and say swap my Alolan Marowak here, hoping to bait out Sableye and possibly sweep with Medicham. What I didn't take into account is that Registeel Double Ghost is just unbeatable if there's like I'm not gonna say unbeatable, obviously you can counter it, but generally it's very strong if there's like no Scrafty or Diggsby on the opposing on the other line, right? So they decided to throw a Zap Cannon first, um, which I find interesting. They had Sableye for my Alolan Marowak. They probably wanted the shield first. Um, I think they shielded a debuff Bone Club, probably bad counting. Shadow Bone still would have done like 40% if they went through, and this is a little bit difficult. Like there's a Reggie, he's a shield up. They probably have another Ghost in the back, and I realized that there. Maybe I should have swapped here, get energy on my Medicham, but the thing is, if they get energy on their Treff and keep the shield there, my Pelipper's not even gonna take it out. So I decided to stay in, take out the Reggie with my Pelipper, and I have to get a shield here, maybe catch. This makes it very difficult. And I do catch the Seed Bomb here. This is actually one of the very few times I brought Medicham. Medicham is difficult to use, I find, in Show 6 Pick 3, because Sableye is always everywhere. Opponent has to throw a move here, otherwise I counter them down. And now I'm able to get the 2 Weather Balls Pelipper, taking this match pretty cleanly. Them shooting the Bone Club obviously helped a lot as well. So that takes this game here. Next match again against same opponent. They swap into their Walrein. I think this is. I'm not sure if this is the right play. Basically, what I wanted to do was to avoid the Sableye with my Alolan Marowak. This is definitely where my Registeel is the best. So here you see Walrein versus Alolan Marowak, and it's pretty solid here. As long as I shield Earthquakes and not Baits, of course. A Shadow Bone does quite some damage here, actually. I'm just gonna shield it up and get some more energy. They throw an Icicle Spear here, that's fine. Pelipper, Registeel, of course, still very strong. So I'm not too worried at this moment. Let's see. I actually am expecting a Registeel in the back now. So I saved a Alolan Marowak for a bit, and it is their own Reggie. This is... If I brought my Reggie into Walrein, this probably would not have been that much of a problem at all. So yeah. Focus Blast lands. I still have my Alolan Marowak with quite some energy. I don't want to throw my move here, because if he gets energy on that Sableye, he can KO my Pelipper pretty cleanly. But my opponent knows what I'm doing, so I have to throw. If he farms me down, I lose as well, right? So I can't do that either. They get one Shadow Claw here, and now my Pelipper needs to get to a move here. Trying to get to the Hurricane. Return does about 70%, so I might barely survive here. If I do, I win, but it barely does kill, unfortunately. This might be an attack-weighted Sableye. I'm going for the bait here, and then I don't think Shadow Bone kills here, but we're gonna see how much this does. And this is actually also why Shadow Alolan Marowak can win the one shields against Sableye, and you see that it still does a lot of damage regardless. Again, really bad lead. Is it still against this person? I'm not sure. But yeah, I say so. My Alolan Marowak once more. They bring out the Sableye right away. And let's take a good look at this matchup. They no-shoot the Bone Club. Unfortunate, but I have another one. And because this is Shadow Alolan Marowak, this matchup is not the worst. This matchup is not the worst. As you can see, I actually flipped this. They are a shield up, but being able to flip this is pretty huge. Yeah, this is not the same opponent. It's this opponent with the Altaria. They were crazy about Altaria. I don't know why. I think it's pretty difficult to use in the Walrein meta. Now, they have a Registeel with a shield up. Registeel definitely takes this matchup with a shield up. And I don't have Power Punch too, so my damage is pretty limited here. I just need to get this into foul play range, otherwise I lose this. They shield the Psychic, and I should have thrown my Ice Punch here, because every damage at this point is crucial. You're gonna see that it's actually gonna cost me the game. Foul play does about, I would say 70%, 17% or so, and this is not it. This is not it. it's like at 20% when it's in the red. So in that case, the Ice Punch may have done it for me here, because look at that HP there. And now the Altaria can just take me out. Unfortunately, 2 Foul Blaze are not gonna do it here. Altaria also pretty bulky. Yeah. So I was saying I don't like Altaria because it just dies in a Walrein meta. But if you look at my opponent's team, they have Medicham, Registeel, Araquanid, G-Fisk. Do you really want to bring Walrein against that team? I don't hate what they have there. Here I say swap my Azumarill into the Medicham. I'm not expecting a Registeel if they lead Medicham, because that will be very weak to Alolan Marowak lead, like impossible actually. And they answer with a Stunfisk. That gives me a very obvious idea of what's in the back. It's going to be the Sableye. So if I can flip this, that'd be great. That would be awesome. I need to flip this honestly, because otherwise my Alolan Marowak is going to be on the Sableye. And I want my Registeel there. I didn't bring my Umbreon, the other answer to the Sableye, but Registeel does just fine. This is a Rock Slide. Yep. And my Azumarill, I did catch a rank 2, so I might build later. This is a rank 50, also Excel, but not as Excel. And in comes the Medicham again. Medicham doesn't really appreciate these play roughs. It can take it, but they're not, you know, they still do a lot of damage. Then indeed in the back is that Sableye. I will get the shield here, and then I will go into Registeel to align here. And then I'll have my Alolan Marowak on the Medicham. There's one thing though, because I threw my move, our switch clocks are misaligned, so that's not great. They can even at some point swap out. I also threw my Zap Cannon after the foul play, actually intentional, because I know that after another Zap Cannon they can swap out and farm me down. And now I take more damage, which means they get less farm. Foul play comes in, they do bring in the Medi like I said. And now I'm just able to farm this down. As you can see, the Fire Spins, it's just way better than a normal Alolan Marowak. I really prefer Shadow over Alolan. This just packs way more power. The typing is way better as offensive, to use as offensive rather than defensive, I feel like. Look at this Shadow bonus. I need to not get farmed down, or because my Azumarill may have died to 1 Shadow Claw, but because of the debuff, I'm actually win that game pretty comfortably. My conclusion, Shadow Alolan Marowak is legit. It's really legit. Make sure you cover Sableye very well. Sableye is everywhere. You need to cover your dark types. Obviously Swampert, which I kind of counted with Pelipper and Azumarill. Umbreon does fine there. So yeah, I hope you liked the video. If you're considering Shadow Alolan Marowak, either in GBL, I would recommend it with Azumarill, Umbreon, or something of those typings. And in Show 6 Pick 3. Definitely counter Swampert and Sableye, and I think other than that you're fine. Hope you liked the video and have a good one.